The sound of the front door closing echoed through the penthouse, crisp and final. Noah Hayes dropped his keys onto the marble counter and glanced at his watch. 6:45 p.m., right on time. The scent of something rich and savory wafted through the air as he noticed the dim glow of the dining room lights. Yet, an unsettling feeling tugged at the edge of his thoughts. Everything looked perfect, but something felt off. His wife, Olivia, appeared in the doorway, her auburn hair pulled back in a loose bun, and an apron tied neatly around her waist. She smiled when she saw him, holding a glass of wine in one hand and a wooden spoon in the other. "Welcome home," she said brightly. Noah paused for a second, his instincts prickling. "You're cooking?" Olivia laughed and rolled her eyes. "Is that so surprising?" It's been a while," he replied, leaning in to kiss her cheek. Her skin felt warm, but he caught a faint scent, a cologne that wasn't his own. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but enough to plant the seed of doubt. Noah straightened, his smile fading. "Did someone stop by earlier?" Olivia blinked, momentarily caught off guard. "Just the handyman. He was fixing the cabinet hinges in the kitchen." She turned quickly, as though the conversation was already over. "Dinner's almost ready. You're in for a treat." Noah nodded absently and made his way to the bedroom to change. The nagging feeling wouldn't let go. He wasn't paranoid by nature, but this wasn't the first time things had felt off. Olivia had been distant for weeks, canceling plans, brushing off conversations, and coming home hours later than usual. And now, that cologne. Later that night, as they ate, Noah's mind drifted. Olivia was chatting about a gallery event she was organizing, but her words blurred into white noise. He forced a smile, nodding at the right moments, but the seed of doubt had already begun to grow roots. By the time they cleared the plates, Noah's decision had been made. The next morning, after Olivia left for work, Noah sat at the kitchen counter with his phone in hand. He searched for a private investigator, feeling ridiculous but desperate for peace of mind. His gaze landed on a name with high ratings, Cole Reynolds, Discreet Investigations. With a steadying breath, Noah called the number. "Reynolds speaking." Noah's voice was calm, but his pulse thudded in his ears. "I need your help." By the end of the day, Noah was sitting across from Cole Reynolds in a sleek, minimally decorated office. Cole was in his early 40s, with sharp eyes that seemed to miss nothing and a demeanor that inspired trust. "What exactly do you want me to do?" Cole asked, steepling his fingers. "I need to know if my wife is being unfaithful," Noah said, the words tasting bitter. Cole nodded slowly. "I'll handle it. I'll update you weekly unless something urgent comes up." Noah left the office feeling both relieved and ashamed. He didn't want to doubt Olivia, but he couldn't shake the feeling that their perfect life had cracks beneath the surface. In the days that followed, Olivia's behavior remained unchanged, smiling, polite, but distant in a way that made Noah feel like a stranger in his own home. Cole's updates were consistent. No unusual activity, no suspicious meetings, no unexplained absences beyond her normal routine. "Everything looks clean," Cole reassured him during a call. "I think you might be overthinking it." Noah wanted to believe that, but the doubt wouldn't disappear. A week later, Noah came home early and was greeted by silence. The house felt empty, save for the faint hum of the dishwasher. He walked into the living room, noticing something out of place. A toolbox near the window, its lid ajar, with screws scattered across the floor. The handyman had been back. Noah's heart pounded in his chest. The scent was there again, that same cologne. He picked up the toolbox, staring at it like it held answers. Suddenly, a message lit up his phone. It was from Cole. "We need to meet. Urgent." Noah's fingers tightened around the phone. The air felt heavier, the weight of everything he feared pressing down on him. Noah arrived at the cafe Cole had suggested, the small bell over the door jingling as he entered. The investigator was already seated at a corner booth, a steaming cup of coffee in front of him. He waved Noah over, his expression serious. Noah slid into the seat, barely able to sit still. "What's so urgent?" Cole's gaze was steady. "Something felt off during my last follow-up." Noah's stomach twisted. "Off how?" Cole reached into his leather satchel and pulled out a few photos, sliding them across the table. The pictures showed Olivia at their home, talking to a man in overalls, laughing at something he said. Another photo showed them closer, their shoulders nearly brushing. Noah's brow furrowed as he stared at the man. He was younger than he expected, maybe in his late 20s, with a rugged build and an easy grin. "That's the handyman?" Noah asked, voice tight. Cole nodded. "His name's Travis Bennett. He's been there more often than you'd expect for simple repairs." Noah's pulse quickened. He knew hiring a professional might bring back uncomfortable answers, but he hadn't expected this. That evening, Noah sat on the couch with the photos spread out in front of him like pieces of a puzzle. Olivia's laughter rang out in his mind, a memory from simpler times. Now, all he could see was the picture of her standing too close to a man she had no business trusting. Chris, Noah's oldest friend, came by after receiving a cryptic text from him. Chris was the kind of friend who didn't ask unnecessary questions. He showed up when it mattered. Chris frowned as he looked at the photos. "You sure about this guy?" Noah nodded. "Cole doesn't miss things. And I've seen signs, things I ignored." Chris leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. "What are you going to do?" Noah's jaw clenched. "I'm going to give her a chance to tell me the truth." Chris's eyes darkened. "And if she doesn't?" Noah's silence was answer enough. Olivia returned home late that night, arms full of grocery bags. She kicked the door closed with her heel and smiled when she saw Noah waiting. "Hey, I picked up that pasta you like." Noah didn't smile back. "We need to talk." Olivia's steps slowed. "Okay." Noah gestured to the couch. "Sit." Her smile faded as she set the groceries down and obeyed. "You're scaring me." He sat across from her, his fingers tapping the edge of the coffee table. "Is there anything you need to tell me?" Her face twisted with confusion. "No. What's this about?" Noah slid one of the photos across the table, the one of her and Travis standing too close. Olivia's eyes widened as she picked it up. She let out a breathless laugh, shaking her head. "This? Are you serious? That's Travis. He's just fixing things around the house." Noah's stare didn't waver. "Then why do you look like you're sharing some kind of private joke?" Olivia's cheeks flushed. "Noah, he's been friendly, that's all. You're reading too much into this." Noah leaned forward, his voice low. "Cole saw him leave our house at odd hours. I've been home early enough to notice the same cologne lingering in the air. You're not fooling me." Her eyes filled with tears. "I would never." "Noah, I swear." Noah's heart felt like it was being crushed under the weight of everything. He wanted to believe her, but doubt coiled around him like a vice. "You've got one chance," he said, his voice trembling with both anger and hurt. "If there's anything you're hiding, tell me now." She reached out, her hand brushing his. "There's nothing. I love you." Noah pulled away, standing up. "I hope that's true, Olivia." But deep down, he knew that some truths couldn't be avoided forever. The following week was unbearable. Noah moved through the days like a shadow of himself, barely speaking to Olivia and finding solace only in his daily updates from Cole. Each message from the investigator chipped away at the facade of their life until there was nothing left but suspicion and dread. And then it happened. Cole called Noah early on a Wednesday morning. His voice was calm but grave. "You need to come to the house." Noah's grip tightened on the phone. "Why? What did you find?" Cole hesitated. "It's better if you see for yourself." Noah pulled into the driveway 20 minutes later, adrenaline surging through his veins. Cole was already there, waiting near the hedges. He nodded silently and led Noah toward the side of the house. The air was crisp, and the morning sun cast long shadows across the lawn. Cole motioned toward the living room window. "Look inside." Noah's breath caught as he peeked through the glass. There they were, Olivia and Travis, standing close in the living room. But this time, there was no laughter, no casual conversation. Instead, their lips met in a slow, intimate kiss. Noah's vision blurred with fury. He felt like the ground had fallen away beneath him. He stumbled back from the window, clenching his fists as rage bubbled to the surface. Cole placed a hand on his shoulder. "Take a second. Don't go in there angry." Noah shook him off, his voice hoarse. "She was everything to me." Cole's face was somber. "I know, but don't let this destroy you." Noah took a deep breath and walked to the front door, each step heavier than the last. He unlocked it slowly, the soft click echoing like a gunshot. When the door swung open, Olivia and Travis froze, their guilty expressions enough to confirm everything. "Noah," Olivia began, her face pale as she stepped away from Travis. Noah raised a hand. "Don't." His voice was low, trembling with barely controlled rage. Travis tried to speak. "Man, Get out," Noah growled, his eyes locked on the man who had invaded his life. Travis hesitated before scrambling to grab his jacket and leave, brushing past Noah without another word. The door closed behind Travis, leaving Noah and Olivia alone. The silence was suffocating. Tears streamed down Olivia's face as she reached for Noah. "Please listen." Noah stepped back, shaking his head. "How long?" Olivia's shoulders sagged. "A few months." The words were like a dagger to the chest. Was I just a placeholder? No. Olivia's voice cracked. "I was lost, Noah. I felt invisible, like you didn't see me anymore." Noah's laughter was bitter. "So you found comfort with the handyman? That's your excuse?" Olivia fell to her knees, sobbing. "I never meant to hurt you." He stared at her, the woman he'd once loved more than anything, now a stranger kneeling on the floor. The anger that had burned so hot turned cold. "I hired Cole to prove I was wrong about you," Noah whispered. "But instead, I found out the truth." Her sobs grew louder, but Noah was already walking away. Noah's footsteps echoed down the hall as he left the living room, his chest hollow despite the rage still simmering beneath the surface. Olivia's cries grew fainter behind him, but he didn't stop or look back. When he reached the bedroom, he slammed the door shut and pressed his back against it, staring up at the ceiling as if he could will the pain away. Minutes passed before there was a soft knock. "Noah, please," Olivia's voice came through the wood, broken and desperate. Noah opened the door slowly, his face devoid of emotion. "We're past talking." Her eyes were swollen, her face pale. "You can't just walk away without hearing me out." Noah stepped aside, gesturing toward the room. "Fine. You want to talk? Go ahead." Olivia hesitated before stepping inside. She wrung her hands nervously as she spoke. "I was lonely, Noah. You've been so wrapped up in your work, the late nights, the meetings. I felt invisible." Noah's eyes flashed. "So instead of talking to me, you decided to sleep with a stranger?" "He wasn't a stranger," Olivia muttered before realizing how damning her words sounded. "I mean, I didn't plan for it to happen." Noah clenched his fists. "You had every chance to stop it, but you didn't." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I know I was wrong, but I still love you." Noah shook his head, the weight of betrayal pressing on him. "Love doesn't feel like this." The next day, Noah packed a suitcase. Olivia watched from the doorway, her face pale with grief. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice trembling. "To clear my head." Noah zipped the bag shut and grabbed his car keys. "When I get back, we'll talk about the next steps." Olivia reached for him, but he stepped out of her grasp. "Noah, please. I can't lose you." Noah didn't respond. The door clicked shut behind him. Instead of driving to a hotel, Noah went straight to Cole's office. The investigator looked surprised when Noah barged in unannounced. "Noah," Cole began, standing from his desk. Noah slammed a thick manila envelope onto Cole's desk. "Sit." Cole sat down slowly, his face tense. Noah's voice was deadly calm. "I did some digging of my own. Turns out you've got quite the track record. Affairs with clients' wives, breaking contracts, covering your tracks just enough to avoid lawsuits." Cole's face paled as he opened the envelope and saw the evidence. Emails, bank transfers, confidential reports. "You're done," Noah said coldly. "You're going to shut down your practice and disappear from this city, or I'll make sure every client you've ever had knows exactly what kind of man you are." Cole swallowed hard. "You can't do this." Noah leaned in, his gaze unwavering. "I just did." By the end of the week, Cole's name was wiped from the office door, and his reputation in shambles. News of his disgrace spread quickly among the city's elite, and within days, he was gone. Olivia's life unraveled in parallel. She resigned from her position at the gallery, unable to face the whispers and judgment from former friends and colleagues. She moved in with her sister in a modest apartment on the outskirts of the city, far from the life of luxury she once flaunted. Noah finalized the divorce swiftly, refusing any plea for reconciliation. He sold the house, severing every tie to the life he'd shared with Olivia. He moved into a sleek, modern loft downtown and rebuilt his routine, focusing on himself and finding peace in solitude. Chris remained by his side, encouraging him to rebuild. "You're better off without her," Chris reminded him one evening over drinks. Noah nodded. "I know. It just takes time." Months later, Noah walked past a cafe window and saw Olivia sitting alone, staring out at the bustling street. She looked thinner, her eyes dull. For a fleeting moment, he felt a pang of something. Pity, maybe. But he didn't stop. She noticed him as he passed, her face lighting up with hope for just a second before he disappeared into the crowd. Moral of the story: betrayal may break you, but how you rise from it defines who you become. Revenge may feel like justice, but true strength lies in reclaiming your life and moving forward without looking back. The end.